For this conference, there are no more back seats, there are no more second row seats, there are only front row seats. So all the women, please come out of the back. There are no seats there. You can't sit there. Come in front. Let us dominate. Let us influence.
Everybody, I'm excited to just wind up the Smart Women Summit 2018. And I just want to say this was like the most unusual event. The last 2 days have been amazing, fantastic, excellent speakers from across the globe. You know, just the women that are excited, women that are ready to take on their giant and go ahead and influence and change the game. Because I think this is a season for women to start influencing and just take the front seats, because that's what is going to create success. So there's no room for backbenchers, there's only room for front seaters.
It was just amazing. We listened to, you know, one of the videos by Lisa Nichols. It's, you know, where what matters is how you can save yourself, how you can, you know, actually follow through mentors, follow through coaches in order for you to bring your brand to another level. It was just so overwhelming. You know, it's like an overdose. We just so overwhelmed. I sat here as a speaker, but I sat here also as a student because I want to learn. I just want to have that, you know, childlike spirit to always wanting to learn. I haven't stopped learning. I want to learn, and I've learned, you know, quite a lot of things that I need now to implement.
We've learned so much, and it cannot be compared to anything you'd rather spend your time on. I think this has been time really well invested, and I think the message spoken in this place by different speakers is definitely going to go a long way in our lives. I don't see myself sitting back in the back seat and waiting for things to happen. I think from here, obviously, I'm going to make things happen. I'll drive myself, I'll push myself, I will push others.
We had just powerful speakers today. The host himself, called Steady Divine, just nailed it. You know, he was talking about there are no more backbenchers. We've got only front row. So every woman gets straight into the front row. We had, you know, Pastor Sarah, you know, all the way from the UK. You know, she just, you know, she spoke about purpose and how, you know, as a woman, you need to, you know, improve your life, improve yourself, and, you know, just get to another level. And we've had, you know, Coach Cher. You know, she also spoke about, you know, how to bring your business, you know, to another level, how to bring your purpose to another level, and all that. Tonika Brendan, she just nailed it too. You know, she's, you know, she talked about smart love, and how, you know, a woman must first and foremost invest in herself, you know, invest in the garden of her life before she actually starts looking out, you know, to demand love from somewhere else. Coach Charles yesterday, you know, he was just coming from, you know, a different angle of, you know, how to bring about, you know, business value, you know, out of your life and all that. I spoke about different things, relationship, business, and so many things. What a Smart Woman Summit.
I have learned a lot. They've taught us how to run businesses. I mean, you know that certain things you think you understand till you hear it from somebody that has actually gone through certain things. And I believe from here I'll be better in myself, and I want to attend more of their meetings. It's very good.
I have learned the different areas of my life, my career, business, lifestyle, as well as love, where I need to improve and maximize my influence. So I think the summit has done justice to their theme for this year, and that has been influence. So in every area of my life, I have known exactly what steps I need to do.
So we gathered here for the sake of the women. We gathered here because we wanted, you know, 2018 to unleash the influence and change the game for everything that we have done and realized today. I believe it's going to push women to another level where they'll begin to influence.
Bye, I'm a smart woman.
Sorry, here. Behind, yes, please up. Yes.
Excited to talk about women because I believe in empowering women and just having a conversation about it, but being very practical about building and developing their lives. Hence, we started up the Smart Women Summit, which practically started as a summit the last 4 years now, from 2015 till now. Now we've grown it into a brand called the Smart Women Movement, because we believe a lot of people talk about things, but people like me love to go an extra mile to create and invest into something to see women become successful. One of the things I remember when growing up, you would hear your parents tell you, oh, go to school, work hard, no one will marry you, at least your sisters, even if they don't go to school or finish school, there's gonna be somebody who's gonna marry them. You know, as I grew up, I started to challenge that thought process. This is why you see a lot of women look at marriage like a career. And for me, I say it shouldn't be that way. You are supposed to be all by yourself. One of the statements I also find very offensive is every time you look at a woman and you have to tell her you ulichaume. You know, that's reducing a woman and who she was designed to be. You can't compare a woman to a man. She's all good by herself. She doesn't need a title from a man to make her excellent. So every time we keep telling women, women shouldn't be getting excited. They should take offense that somebody says ulichaume, because they are reducing who you are as a woman. So these are things we're trying to deal with the Smart Women Movement and the summit that we do once every year. And I'm excited because we're seeing a lot of women coming off from a space of just sitting and waiting, but they're saying, I am ready to be a history maker. I am ready to change the game. So they are leaving from what is a conventional, traditional, that has held them down to a place where they're beginning to say, I am ready to get on, to create my success. Hence my session at the Smart Women 2018 was no backbenchers, only front seats. My encouragement and my challenge and my charge to women was saying, hey, there are no backbenchers, there are no second row seats, there's only front seats for you. If you are able and gifted enough, you're supposed to be at the front. So there shouldn't be a time where you're waiting at the back. And hey, there's no time to wait anymore, because there are no backbenchers, there are no second row seats, only front seats available. And that's what I came to speak to the women in 2018, because I believe that it's time for them to go to the front. It's time for them to go and say, hey, I'm ready to change the game, and I am able. And I'm not gonna hide in the shadow of a man. I will support and inspire my generation, but I also be a blessing to the men and the women folks. So I'm ready to be able to take the front seat than sitting at the back. This brand has got 5 crucial areas, which is smart love, smart business, smart spirituality, lifestyle, and career too, because we believe a woman must be complete. You know, you have the love life, you have business, you have a career, you have an excellent lifestyle, and you have a spiritual life that is working. And that's what we focus on doing with this brand. And I believe we're going in the right direction. I always tell women, if you can see my face, you won't rest until you succeed. So no backbenchers, only front seats. One of the things that I do successfully is helping people create, design, and build their brand. One of the key things you must start to understand, whatever you do in life, you have to go to a place where you begin to create value. One of my biggest topics that I'm passionate about, subjects, is personal branding. How are you branding yourself? Dr. Nelly spoke a bit about personal branding. One of the reasons we came to the Smart Woman 2018, the theme is influence. If you look at the poster, the flyers, everything talks about influence. And influence is not felt from the backbenchers. So that's why there are no more backbenchers, there are only front row seats. If you will live here and decide to be at the back, then you are certainly not part of the conversation that is happening here. Every person that becomes successful has to move from the back bench and walk into the front seats, because at the front is where the influence begins to happen. So the women we were assigned to speak to and inspire today are women that are making the decision to walk to the front. The women that are deciding to do bigger and powerful things. And I'll tell you one of the things, it's going to be very lonely. it's going to be very tough. I wish I could tell you it's going to be easy, but it's going to... Let me give you a practical example. Some people are not seated with us today because of work. One of my biggest things I've said to myself, I will never apply for a job in my life. Because a lot of us are becoming too comfortable in our jobs. And my biggest prayer is that your boss fires you. Even if you don't agree. Because when you are fired, you understand the power of the front seat. Because you know that everything you do depends on you designing and creating the success. I love to tell my story. I grew up in Challenge. I started my business. One of my first businesses was started in Challenge. And I love to say that even the name of a business, the market I started my business at would even put you at a disadvantage. The name is called Chifundo Market. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Chifundo Market. So I started from Chris Corner in Challenge, Chifundo Market. From a place like that, you decide to grow and design a very powerful brand. And you're doing corporate stuff and investing in other people. You see a lot of speakers that are speaking today. You know where that started from? You talked about Amazon. There's a lot of content. It will take like the whole day for me to teach you on how to do, they call it Amazon Business. How do you leave the laptop? We call it the laptop life. That's where I'm headed to. Where as long as I have, no wonder this is like Babe. Like this thing is always on my bed 24/7. My gadgets are on my bed 24/7. Because that's a life I'm designing. I don't have to sit in anybody's office to make money and create success. I can create it using a laptop. Are we together? I want you to understand why we do Smart Women Summit. Is to look for women. No, let me give you a practical example. Look at how Tanika killed it. Look at how Pastor Sarah killed it. Coach Shea killed it. You know why they do all those things? It's because they have created a certain system where their levels of exposure is different. When will you travel the world and influence people and move to the front seats when you have a boss or your job? Coach Charles says word job stands for just over broke. Where you have more month than you have money. The biggest challenge why you won't take the front seat is because you're comfortable where you are. A lot of people have gotten used to struggle. And you may not admit it, but your actions will be able to tell that you're still living the backbench life. You don't want to take the front seat life. Let me give you a practical example. One thing that breaks my heart, every time I travel, and I've said this thing over and over, I'm in very high profile meetings. You will see women from different parts of the world coming to the table, but you will hardly see Zambian women coming to the party. And the reason, one of the reasons, is because when we were growing up, they told us the boys, go to school, you must make sure you get educated, at least your sisters can get married. So a lot of people are professional women, but that spirit still lives in them. So this is why deciding to leave the back bench and come to the front seat is always a limitation. Even the most powerful women you know in this country that have decided to take a step forward, that spirit still drags them back to the back bench. And that's why, don't be, what did Tanika talk about? About Instagram. Do you want to be a cool couple or a cold couple? Did you understand the power of that?
Yes.
Did you understand that? Because that's where marriage has gone to now. I said it, they don't give medals for who has the most sex in the world. So yes, you got laid the most, here's an award. No, they don't give medals. They don't give medals for who does that. So it means relationships in this season have to be attached to success. How do we win together? How do we create together? Are we together? So you have to get to a place where I am moving from the back bench and coming to the front seat. One of the things I boast about is that whoever is going to be blessed to marry me won't have to struggle with certain things. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Because the person you marry and date must change your game. Where do you live, eh? Where do you live? Where do you live? Where do you live? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? I've been doing Smart Woman for 5 years. And I'm happy to say that if she decides to show up, I'm happy to sit back at the corner and let her run the show. So she doesn't have to struggle building a brand. I have worked so hard to build a brand that I can pass on to her. Sometimes that's why I get jealous. Because I get jealous. You know, there's a song that says, I knew I loved you before I met you. That's what it means. That's what it means. So when you get in a sport with someone, you are changing the destiny. So whatever I am building and I'm growing and I'm developing, it means that it's a brand that I can take at an international level. So for you to get to a place like that, you have to take the front seat. One thing I'm passionate about is the power of social media. You can use social media for business. So there's nothing I don't do. I design websites, I do graphics, I create content for social media, and every design you see on social media, all the booklets, everything, I do it myself. And it's not even a full-time job, it's a hobby. There's such haters, you can't even clap for me. Now, can you imagine if you can use the power of social media to grow and design your brand? I think I was with these guys in the office one day. I was showing them one of my friends from, the US, how she designed a powerful brand on Instagram and social media. How that you don't have to go there in the most dirty way. You have to go there in the most creative way. So if you run a clothing business, if you run a consultancy firm, whatever business, if you run a food parlor or anything, you have to monetize the power of social media. You have to maximize that. Even you, I tell people, you can't fire me from being me. You can fire me from anything else, but you can't fire me from being me. So even you, in your personal capacity, you have to walk away from the back bench to the front seat on your social media platforms. Because people get jobs using social media now. Because there's a lot of people that are watching you. There's a lot of people that are looking at you. So what is it that you will use? One thing that breaks my heart, there are people, I even went to an extent to pay for their ticket to sit in this meeting, but they didn't even come. They didn't even show up. They didn't pitch. Even just deciding to say, let me just go, let me just go and see. And these are people that are highly talented, but they won't make a step to change. Now tell me, the things that have happened today, I was actually even sitting and said, this is an overdose. Did you see how each session was just like, like knocking you out, like you would just lie on the floor, pour me water. The song called Pour Me Water, isn't it? How do they sing that song? That's what it felt like today. You sit in the sessions and you feel like someone can pour. They were just so powerful. But the same people will go through the same struggle. So quickly, I said 10 minutes. So the first seat is going to be your business seat. What business are you deciding to start up today? And there's some of you that say you can't do business. Who is it that is in this place, or someone that you know you can partner with? You don't have to be the one to run the business. You can partner with someone that has got business skills. I heard Dr. Nelly talking on Smooth Talk. Some women will come out and say, hey, I have a brain, I have the money, I have land. What is it that we can do to be able to grow and develop these businesses. It's a starting point. The problem with most people, they feel like you have to be the one who calls the shots. But you could be the one that is financing the business. So the first seat you must decide to take, look, there's nothing. The way I felt yesterday at Radisson was just like, I can't believe it. As long as foreigners will call the shots on major businesses in this country, they will keep telling us, Ziko ni yanu, chuma ni chatu. So even raising kids and having kids in this generation is not even cheap. Because the kids in this generation won't even take these things your fathers and mothers used to give us. So life is expensive, but they pay you little tiny amounts where you work, but you go back, you are comfortable. There's a season in your life where you have to say, you know what? Thank you for everything, but hasta la vista. Bye-bye. But guess what's gonna happen? It's you sitting like Lisa talked about, going to the same meetings 29 times, 36 times. What is it that you would do for you to start growing your brand and your business? How can you monetize your Instagram? And another thing to do with social media, because that's a bigger thing. You know why Tanika is speaking today? Is because she used social media and we connected through that platform. And a lot of you are buying her books today. Now tell me if social media is not powerful. Because, look, just because the most stupid people in this country use social media for crazy stuff doesn't mean everyone else is doing the same. There are people that are monetizing social media. So this is the first place that you have to go to, your seat of business. So decide to take this seat confidently. Your lifestyle, your habits. Do you have a bookshelf? Do you read? Do you study? Who are your friends? Who's in your circle? If you hang around fools, 4 fools, you're gonna be the 5th one. So you have to make sure you decide who is going to be in my circle. You must qualify who qualifies to relate with you. You must qualify who qualifies to relate with you. It's not even pride. So you decide, how will my lifestyle look like? What books will I read? Who's going to be my friend? Who is it I will hang around with? Who is it that I will give the audience to have conversations with me? So your lifestyle, your habits. She talked about waking up in the morning, the first thing you check is Facebook and Instagram. I'm guilty. So you have to get to a place where, who's going to be my friend? Who is it I will hang around with? Who's going to stretch me? Who's going to challenge me to create the life that I need to? Hell on earth or heaven on earth? So you are better off grown old single. And let me confess. Every time I'm talking to my friends that live in the Western world, making statements like I made is very easy. You can even hear it from what Tanika was talking about. You can notice they're comfortable about, look, I will not marry an example of a man just because I want to get married. But here, when you make statements like that, everybody's gonna be on your neck. But you must get comfortable to a place where I say, I will not settle. One thing that breaks my heart is a desperation for marriage among most women. You will get married by hook or crook. So your relationship seed must be safe. When it comes to relationships, are you marrying someone who's helping you push your destiny? Are you marrying someone who's going to help you? Another space I want to talk about, and I will close, this is the last thing I'm saying, is friendships, relationships. You notice everything that happened in this place was out of relationship. I always like to say, if any relationship fails in my life, I want to make sure that I end my way out. I don't want the blood to be on my shoulders. If any friendship dies, if any relationship dies, I want to make sure I end my way out. And I want to make sure that when you are my friend, you don't have to, when you're facing the other direction and you don't know what's happening behind you, if I am your friend, you will never have to wonder what's happening behind you because I got you covered. And these are relationships that are rare in this generation. I give an example of John Maxwell, one of my leadership gurus. I listened to Dr. John C. Maxwell. One time he was going through a season in his life, and he needed to hand over one of his organizations because he couldn't carry it at that season of his life. And he told his friend, he says, can you help me? Now listen to this, listen to this. Can you help me take over my organization, run it for me? When I am ready to pick it up, I will come back and pick it up. And he gave it to him. When Dr. John Maxwell was ready to pick it up, he went to tell his friend, says, I am ready to take it up. His friend handed it over and gave it back to him. Not just where it was, but even better and well improved. How many friends do you have in your life that you don't have to stress about what's happening? You don't have to stress with what you're going through. They will be able to come in your space and cover you and help you recover so that you have more energy. How many friends do you have you can trust with your organization? These days we can't even trust our friends with the password. You know what's happening with people like Kenneth Copeland? You know the gifts they give each other? It's jets. They buy each other jets. And that's where relationships must be. We can't always be broke. We must get upset because if you stay broke, your friends will always be broke. So you have to make decisions to upgrade your relationship so that your circle doesn't suffer. What is it that you would do to be able to create and design those relationships? Who are you going to network with? Who is it that you will build with? Who is it that you will develop with? Who is it you will run with? Because there's no space no space at the back. There's only front row seats. So if you're gonna be a woman, you can't just be a jumping cars with dudes just jumping on you. No, you can't be. You can't be. You can't be. So you have to decide to come to the front. How do we do these things? How do we build? How do we develop? So I want you to say, I'm taking the front seat. I'm taking the front seat. I'm taking the front seat. The seat of business. The lifestyle seat. The relationship seat. I'm an asset and not a liability. I will thrive. I will create success. And I'm a history maker. That's my lifestyle. Put your hands together for yourselves.
Actually, here. Behind there, squeeze up. Yes.